everyone. We are so delighted that you are here with us today to have tea or whatever other beverage you would like. And just for fun, before we get started, if you are enjoying your tea or beverage, share in the chat what kind you are enjoying with us today. I am having a lovely chocolate pu'er tea.
I'm having a beautiful coconut and almond milk latte with beans from Africa, and I am having peppermint water.
I love it. So we've got green tea, tea with milk. Okay,
tea with honey.
Yeah. Tea with honey, vanilla bean tea. Oh, wow. That's a good one. Oat milk.
Yeah,
I love it.
We're gonna have to do a tea sharing now.
I know, right? Like, well, just think of this as a tea party with information to enjoy. So, if you have ever sipped your tea with friends or gone out with friends and had a cup of something, and have you ever, you just get together and you hang out and then you leave feeling energized and ready to conquer the world? Because today we are brewing up a similar experience, except it's virtual. And we invite you to join us for a whimsical twist on taking essential action. There'll be some laughter, connection, and tools to transform your to-do list into a recipe for success.
And we're certainly going to have some laughter. So if you've ever wondered what sloths, drill sergeants, hippos, pixies, and elves have to do with tea, taking essential action, you're about to find out.
Well, some people are probably wondering, why are we on this call again? Pixies, elves, and hippos, Heidi?
Because that's what we do. Now I've got to try and make these slides go forward. Okay, there we go. So we're really excited to be here, although as a fun fact, getting here almost took more action than we've actually taken all week. So let's just say the universe threw some interesting challenges at us today. Like, did you know that juggling basil, coriander, and pepper pots is a terrible idea?
I bet, especially if they're glass and you can't juggle.
Well, that's true, but at least juggling is highly recommended for the mind because it means that you're doing new and different things and you're stimulating your hippocampus.
Your hippo who? I have this image of a hippopotamus now. Thank you so much, Heidi. Like,
you're more than welcome.
We'll add it with the pixies, the elves, and the drill sergeant, right?
Okay, well, I couldn't resist putting a hippo on this next slide. And it's right there next to target improvement. So I'd like you to all share in the chat what essential action means to you. And I appreciate those driving, please don't try and do that. But share in the chat, what does taking essential action mean to you? Just have a think about that. And while you're doing that, Dani, share with me, what does it mean for you?
So for me, essential action is the essence of what is important to me. It's the non-negotiables. The essential action will take you forward, or it's that must, that energy of this is a must. I must do this. So, an example is if I wake up and a family member is sick, then what is essential for that day is going to be different to another day, especially if for me, family is first. So I will shift things around to take care of that family member.
Okay, so actually, Dani, your essential action is avoiding a bigger mess. Cleaning up the sick, wiping and mopping the floor, and getting yourself back to being in a joyful state. And for me, essential action is focusing on what's really important to me right now. That means putting my energy and time into being at my best in terms of health and wellness, which also means not focusing on some other things that I want to do.
So is not focusing another way of saying you're staring in the face of Mount Procrastination, Heidi?
Oh, damn. That means another mountain to climb. So share in the chat what's getting in your way, because Mount Procrastination is the barrier.
So I see a lot of people agreeing with me. And then we've got doing the most important things that move you, that move your most critical goals forward.
Mm-hmm.
planting a goal in the ground, identifying the drive and creating the goals to aim for,
Yeah.
and the things that have to be done in order to move your life forward. Yes, yes,
Beautiful.
and yes.
Absolutely. And more of that, please. Absolutely. So we've explored the idea of essential action, but let's face it, it sometimes feels like a battle between our inner sloth and a productivity drill sergeant.
My inner sloth happens to like watching cheesy Chinese dramas instead of tackling my to-do list.
Okay, but that's okay. But what fascinating insight did you discover while you were watching those cheesy Chinese dramas?
Well, I never, ever, ever want to be a part of an emperor's harem. No way. No, 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 no.
Oh, do you
No,
know
thank
what?
you.
That's such a shame. I had a new business idea along those lines, which I thought was actually quite essential. But I can see that I've been thrown a challenge and I'm going to have to adjust now. There was me going to be part of a harem. Oh, never mind. But at least you got clarity on what you want your next life not to look like.
That is true. That is true. However, you know, the drama watching those cheesy Chinese dramas, it can really be a problem at times.
Yeah, okay. So might I suggest we ditch the pressure and look at the problem in a new light? So how about a fun game of procrastination pixie versus essential action elf?
You know me, Heidi, I'm always up for a good game.
And remember, a little bit of pixie dust can make even the most essential action problem feel delightful. So let the magic begin. And I'm actually going to get my magic wand out. We're going to let the magic begin, okay? So what's your underlying problem, Dani?
Well, I have a couple of big projects coming up, and just starting them feels so daunting, Heidi.
Okay, that's okay. Let's break it down. So, Dani, grab your pretty notebook, gather your tools. Dani likes to have pretty and colouring pens, whatever it is, little sticky notes, bit of sparkle, coloured paper. And you're going to write down the pixie steps involved in getting to that challenge, that problem. And channel your inner procrastination pixie and think about the goal of your project and imagine it's a beautiful garden, one that inspires you. List out the steps you need to take on your sparkle path, the path to build your garden.
So, if I'm building a garden, be it for real or metaphorically, I'm going to need to research some plants and create an outline of the garden. I'm going to need to gather the materials that I'm going to need and get planting. If it's nice out, I could till the dirt. And if it's raining, I could research the plants. Tilling the dirt feels like action is happening and preparation is happening. But I kind of need to know what plant I want to plant, when and where. And oh, actually, maybe I need to figure out where to put the garden first.
Okay, so the essential action elf would like to know in which order do you want to do this? What makes sense for you? What does your intuition tell you to do first? And remember, you want it to be fun.
I have an image of a garden with pixies and elves. Thank you again, Heidi. This is like the imagery is like strong today.
Absolutely.
So I think the first one would be to figure out where to put the garden. Because if I know that, then I can figure out where the dirt needs to be tilled and what plants I can put in that space, or plants, what, you know, figure out, because if it's in the sun, I'm going to want sun plants. If it's in shade, I'm going to want shade plants. So first I need to figure out where I'm going to put it.
Well, the essential action elf is delighted because you actually now know your first step. And they'd actually like to celebrate your progress and know that the next step will feel less intimidating.
Oh, that's brilliant. Essential action doesn't have to be a chore, because with a little creativity and these pixie approved tricks and the images of pixies and elves dancing in my head, you can make it enjoyable and conquer your to-do list with a smile. So how many people, just, you know, show of hands, how many of you are going to have images of pixies and elves running through
I do hope
now?
so.
Metaphors are magic.
Yeah. And it's important to choose and use the procrastinator pixie because they have wonderful magic dust for you. But also incorporate your essential action elf, the one that allows practical strategies for overcoming challenges. The pixie's keeping your life light-hearted and fun. So use the two together. They create balance.
Okay. So
You okay?
I'm being adorable, Heidi.
You are adorable, Dani.
I am adorable. Oh,
Is that elf got in the way? Is the
that
sloth
elf
hanging around?
has just
What's
gotten in the
going on for
way.
you?
So what I am feeling is that, yeah, I'll just
Okay.
So did you discover anything aside from me being completely adorable right now that would help you to integrate essential action in your life while you were listening to our conversation? So if so, share in the chat.
Just give me a moment.
And it could just be simply now when you think about procrastination, you think about pixies and elves.
And magic sparkly dust raining down on you.
Yeah.
That lifts your hands and helps you to do what you want to do.
So I love that having a great friend to bounce off makes it easier. Yes, yes, it does.
Absolutely. Just want to pick up on one of the things that was said earlier. What holds me back? Exhaustion. Don't get enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Get very excited when doing things, which is great, but also wear yourself out. Brain is busy, silly, and happy. And yes, it does all get done in good time.
Mm-hmm.
Just take one step, not all of them.
Yep.
Imagine a baby. They take one step, they fall down, they stand back up again. They might try and take multiple, they'll fall down. Just take the one step. So Dani, what did you discover while you were watching your Chinese dramas?
Well, I discovered that it creates a sense of urgency for me because I have less time to get things done. So I also realized that when I have a morning routine, which is essential and non-negotiable, it enables me to take the essential action, even if I have less time, which I am creating by watching these dramas.
Yeah. I love that you've actually said that about creating a sense of urgency, because I find that the more I'm having fun enjoying what I'm doing on my to-do list and tuning into my inner sloth, which is actually trying to stop me and slow me down, the more of my list gets done automatically because my productivity drill sergeant has never left me. That one's there all the time. And they got to learn while my sloth was having fun and relaxing, and they kick in when the clock is ticking. So I'm actually balancing those two things together.
Are they dancing, your sloth and your drill sergeant?
Probably. They're probably they might actually be in a relationship. I don't know.
How much imagery can we fit into this call today? So what I am feeling here is that your essential action, it must be a must. So whether you create a lack of time or another form of urgency, you're creating a motivating factor.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that form of urgency can simply be a thought. You create a thought that creates the urgency. Because it's the story that we tell ourselves or a vision that we've created. That creates the urgency.
Exactly. If we tell ourselves it's going to be hard, then we are more likely to stay hanging out with our inner sloth But if we add a bit of procrastination pixie dust and make it fun, as well as the essential elf urgency with a great story wrapped around it, you get a beautiful integration.
Yeah. Changing the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love, we have someone on this call who does not procrastinate, but their time and energy is limited. So I love that you don't procrastinate. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, yes, add fun to your research. Do it, do it, do it. So now, unless you're driving or in a space where you can't do this, we're going to do a mini meditation. So if you are driving, just listen to the words and see what comes up. If you are not driving and in a space where you can close your eyes, take a moment and just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, exhale any stress or tension with the big whoosh sound. Inhale again. Breathe out, making a sound. Let it go. One more time. Inhale in. And this time, gently release the breath. Just let yourself sort of settle over your hips. So I want you to take a moment to think about the last time that you took essential action in your life or took action in your life. And think about what you did. Think about that feeling of momentum as you took the action. Really connect with that. If you want to connect deeper, I invite you to put your hands over your heart. So close your eyes, really place that feeling in your heart or whatever you're seeing. If you have a visual, if you're hearing sounds, imagine placing all of that experience in your heart as you're taking the action. And then after you took the action and it's done, how do you feel? Really connect with that feeling. Make it bigger if you can. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Maybe there's a scent involved. Maybe you're tasting something. As many senses as possible. Really go back and remember and engage. Remember as much as you can of being done, of that essential action is done. And how did that impact you? How did that impact the people around you? Whatever come up, come up. What are you feeling? Place that into your heart, stacking them together so that you have this connection with that feeling of what it feels like when you've accomplished that essential action. And how did doing that essential action, how did it ripple out? What did completing that action, how did it affect the people around you? What do you feel? What do you see? Can you see their faces? Can you hear their voices? Really connect with all of your senses. How did that make you feel? Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. And if you want to, you can share in the chat what came up for you. I know when I went back to my essential action, there was just this feeling of celebrating that I did it. And it improved my mood and it just rippled out to my family and friends.
I went back into juggling my herb and pepper pots. But actually, I was doing that while I was creating a meal. And the meal was needed for my health. That was my essential action, was actually creating a meal that was for my health. But whilst I was doing that and playing around, that gave my mind the space to piddle and let an incredible result come out.
Now, if you're wondering about the word piddling, that means free thinking, not weeing. Just so you all know.
So glad you said that, Dani, because at the time I was thinking of adding other ingredients that would enhance the beneficial impact, which does, of course, include your bladder. Anything that you're eating impacts your whole body. And it's my recipe, and what I created actually is now available for the others to use on the app that I'm working on and working with. Nutritionally has a very high score. So just creating the space allowed other things to come in. What about you, Dani?
Well, I took essential action by stepping out of my comfort zone and saying yes to something that excited me and that really led me to being given an even greater responsibility. And we all know that with great power comes great responsibility.
Hang on a minute, that's Spider-Man. Great power with greater responsibility is Spider-Man. How does integrating him with pixies and elves, is that actually allowed?
That's a whole new story, Heidi.
So meanwhile, let's get back to essential action and your story. How did this impact you and others?
Well, it's building my confidence in myself and helping me to really trust myself and others, which is something I have chosen to work on this year. And it makes me incredibly excited and happy. And again, when I'm excited and happy, it ripples through my family. It really does. And they see that I'm happy and they feel my happiness and energy.
Well, I'm so glad you said ripples, because I thought you were going to say trickles, and that comes back to the bladder again. We're getting about
Oh, you were really caught up on the piddling that.
But that's actually what having a 3-year-old in and around my house all the time does for you. It creates a whole new perspective on life. It's wonderful, and that brings joy and fun, of course. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it's Voltaire, not Uncle Ben, according to the chat. So Uncle Ben stole it from Voltaire. Uncle Ben was in Spider-Man, though. So thank you for that.
I'm glad we got people paying attention. That's brilliant. So a comfort break might be a great inspiration, because who knows what might trickle out now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just going to keep this going.
So if you all are paying attention, this is the power of language. Yeah. So what words are you using, and do they make you laugh?
Or maybe cry with laughter, because crying with laughter makes you wet yourself.
Oh Sorry. My gosh, if you keep up with these jokes,
Okay, I'll hold off for a second. So how are you describing the situation, project, or action that you need to take?
I think we've just taken this to a whole new level. Because have you crafted fun and joy into the action you want to take?
Or need to take? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
So we've got some shares in the chat already, but we'd love to hear what inspired or inspires you to take more action. How can you make it fun? And I'm just going to take a moment and touch on the fact that, just from connecting with the feeling of accomplishing an essential action, someone saw themselves dancing and jumping for joy, a sense of relief and comfort about moving forward. Yeah. When I turned in my 9th and final edits for my book and the book signing afterwards. So, beautiful. Being more daring, having courage, these are all really key things. And what about you, Heidi? What has inspired you to take more action? We know you can make it fun, because language itself, my gosh.
I love adding humor and the spontaneity that goes with it, because humor and fun energize me. So I'm actually making and taking more steps to bring more of that into everything I do. So what about you, Dani?
Heidi, I would have never guessed that you love adding humor or fun, especially after working this event with you. Never in a million years. Oh, for me, it's about looking at the story I created and really coming up with a new version that is fun, playful, motivating, and, for the sake of language, maybe even a bit sparkly.
A bit sparkly, yeah. Thought you might say that. Sorry, I've just lost my mouse. The mouse is climbing up, playing with the sloth, I think. So what action will you commit to take right here, right now? How about creating your story? One like the big project with Dani's garden.
And if you really want to give this a deeper thought, I invite you, unless you are driving your car or doing something where you really want to keep your eyes open, to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, slowly exhale, put your hands on your heart, and really connect with the action that you want to take. What is the action you want to take? Can you associate it with a metaphor? Maybe you're imagining pixies and elves and hippos and drill sergeants and whatnot. And how can you change your story about this action? How can you make it more fun or creative or motivating? Instead of, I have to do this, maybe it's, I get to do this. Just sit with that for a minute. Play with the language, play with the visuals. Imagine yourself taking that action in a fun way. Maybe you're holding a fairy wand. Maybe you're wearing a crown. Maybe you're wearing a Spider-Man suit. Embrace the fun. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Gently open your eyes. And if you want to share in the chat, we invite you to share in the chat.
Yeah, look at the action that you took in your mind. What magical words and metaphors can you use to inspire you? That makes that action something elevating, uplifting, inspiring, wonderful, no matter what it is. Share in the chat.
What about you, Heidi? I'm almost afraid to ask. What magical words will you use?
Well, I'll have to go with piddle and trickle. There I must now. Seriously, though, I feel like I want to create a brand new word, something that doesn't even exist right now, one that brings joy and laughter. So I'm actually going to work on that and bring in the sloth, the pixie, the elf, and even the drill sergeant, because they are all relevant. They all belong. They all come together. They all want to join hands and just elevate. So how about you, Dani?
Well, before I share mine, I just need to
Yeah.
share that someone saw a Disney-style hippo with a ballet skirt and magic wand tickling my head. So
Yes.
yeah, see, yes,
And more yes.
Yes. So for me, I love the metaphor of a garden for many reasons, because life is like a garden. And sometimes you need to dig things up. And sometimes the weeds are prettier than the flowers. And the weather determines the right time. All in all, it is really about the vision you have and how you want it to look, and discovering along the way what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and trusting that in the end, it will all work out. May not work out the way you want, but it will work out.
Exactly.
My action from that is just to ask myself daily, what is nurturing me? What's challenging me, and what excites me? And I'm changing my perspective on how I see things.
I just want to read out what Vicky said. Changed exercises for health to movement with great fun and the pleasure I had as a child.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. I've lost my mouse. It's playing with the drill sergeant now. Oh dear. We've had a lot of fun and laughter along the way, and we leave you with hippos, sloths, pixies, elves, drill sergeants, but most importantly, knowing that you value yourself by taking essential action. Essential action which is joyous, enlightening, energizing, and whatever else you want it to be. It's your story, and you get to write it, change it, and make it your own.
And we hope that you guys had fun with us today, as much fun as we had putting this together for all of you. And the next time you look at a cup of tea, we ask you to take time, enjoy, and think about what it stands for. Taking essential action. And to remember that taking essential action is really what we make of it.
Yeah. And I'm actually grateful for Kleenex because that's helped me with all the laughing and stuff. But before we leave, I actually came up with a new word, and it's frolicsendral. Frolicsendral. Frolic is for playfulness and joy. Ixen is for the magical and whimsical aspect, and drill to represent the drilled, disciplined and efficient in me. So Floxenendral symbolizes a magical being that infuses fun and laughter into tasks while also providing a structured and decisive approach to getting things done.
You are indeed a frolicsendral.
I am a frolicsendral.
You are a frolicsendral.
Make it up. If it doesn't exist, just make it up. You can create whatever you like. And that changes your journey ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Changes every piece of action that you take.
All right, so this is if you want to see other events that we have done, you can go to our YouTube channel. They're also posted in the Lifebook community. And we have some other groups where you can find us, and I'll post the links in the chat so it's easier. And we just want to thank you all for being here with us today, and celebrating and learning and showing up. Heidi and I are also, we are going to be putting together a group. We're looking for a group of 10 people who are interested in really taking essential action and working through the barriers and challenges that you have facing essential action. And if you're interested, you can contact us about that. We'll be coming out with more information in the next month or so, but we've got something really fun planned.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we're gonna stop the recording in a little bit and take some
I just wanted to put up that we've also got a link to a WhatsApp group for weekly motivations, updates of future events and accountability. So what Dani's just mentioned about future event for 10 people, that will be in there as well. So you can take a note of that. But have you shared that in the chat?
I think I did. I can share it again.
That's okay. That's all right.
It is in the chat.
And there's other ways that you can connect with us as well. And that'll all be on the recording, by the way. I just want to pick up on just a couple of extra pieces in here. Shelley mentioned Fantasia, beautiful. Karen said, I want to become that gardener in the Lifebook garden. Absolutely. I too want to make Lifeboat greater. I like Lifeboat because it is your lifeboat. I talk about everywhere I go. And Vicky's going to find fairies and elves, not looking for the drill sergeant. Well, sometimes you will need the drill sergeant, so remember that. Alice in Wonderland, tea time every day is your unbirthday. Beautiful. And it's my unbirthday too. What a coincidence. I love unbirthdays, and my unbirthday is next month, so there you go. This is gorgeous. Beautiful.
Oh.
And thank you, Diane. Thank you, Shelley, for the comments.
Yes.
Yeah. When I can find my taskbar, which has disappeared entirely, I'll stop the recording. I love it.